Alright, it is finally time for Leyndell. I should note before we start that Leyndell is slightly unique in that it actually has a prerequisite to enter. You'll need 2 great runes to get inside. If you've been following this guide, then that is absolutely no problem. We've had that for ages. In fact, we already ran through here a while back, but if you are just hopping in at this point, I figured that is worth mentioning. In addition to that note about starting Leyndell, there's also an important thing to mention about finishing Leyndell. After we complete this area, we'll gain access to Mountaintops of the Giants, and after we get to the end of that, we'll get sent to another legacy dungeon called Crumbling Farum Azula. Killing the final boss of Farum Azula is a point of no return in the game, which prevents us from coming back through Leyndell and grabbing all the items, killing all the enemies, all that stuff. So if you plan on getting literally everything in Leyndell, or anything at all, I suppose, I would highly recommend doing it now. Whether that means looting items off the ground, talking to NPCs, farming enemies for drops, anything in Leyndell. If it happens in Leyndell, do it before you finish Farum Azula. I'll bring this up again for sure, especially towards the end of the dungeon, but I wanted that to be known right at the beginning of the video as well. So start here at East Capital Ramparts, and we are going to go through this exit. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention, I just remembered, since we ran through a bit of this area earlier to do Dung Eater's quest, there are a handful of items you might have picked up already, but if you have not been following the guide, they'll still be there. I was originally just going to go through here assuming you picked them up earlier and not mention them now, but despite the fact that this guide walkthrough is really meant to be followed from start to finish, Leyndell is just a massive legacy dungeon, which I assume people will want help with and will go searching for, so I still want this section of the guide to be usable, even if it's the only thing you watch out of the whole series. So in light of that, I'm going to retrace some steps and point out items that you probably already looted if you have been following the whole time, for the sake of just having a useful standalone Leyndell walkthrough. So with that, let's clear out all these guys. And if you haven't been through here, there will be a golden rune 10 on this corpse to my left. And then from here, if you're quick, you should be able to sprint to the left of this broken statue and avoid most of the fire. You might have to roll at the end. And once you're behind him, you're pretty much free to take it out. Also run along the wall up there if you're feeling bold. And then on the corpse in front of it, right here, should be a golden 7. Now backtrack up these stairs, and off to the right there's a little spiral staircase thing. Enemy in the back right corner here. Take him out, grab a smithing stone 4. And then if you exit out here, take this lower path. Kill these guys and then go inside, and there will be a page upstairs. Might patrol down this staircase, I can't quite remember, but I'm gonna pull this lever so we can take the elevator down. There we go, could not hit him. Take these enemies out, and then hop onto this roof right here, and take out this knight here from ranged if you can. Otherwise, just jump down, but be careful because there's gonna be this guy right here. Be right behind you. Alright, and then grab these Mikkela's lilies. And around the corner, crouch and hug this left wall. The knight's going to come out around the corner. try to get the jump on him. Nice, and then we can go inside. Enemy off to the right. Some loot off to the right, and you can crash through these boxes. A few more commoners in here. And then in this room on the right, there's going to be a single perfumer there with their back turned on the left, and then on the right there's a page there and another perfumer. So be really careful here because obviously perfumers hurt pretty bad, but that page can also just unload that burst of bolts right there, which does an insane amount of damage. Genuinely afraid of that hitting me, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, once they're dead, warming stones, golden rune 10, drop some more loot for us, and then back in this room, just go past the stairs and go outside, crouch. There's gonna be another page here, but we can sneak up on this one. Guarding a golden, or a smithing stone 6 rather, and then go back inside, and we'll go upstairs this time. Sneak in here, backstab the perfumer. More commoners, and then this is actually right where we came down the lift, so we have circled around back to the beginning here. We'll climb up the ladder, and then behind this furniture over here, got a chest, a perfume bottle that should be 9 out of 10 I believe, and then up the staircase you can find a corpse with the seedbed curse that we grabbed earlier in the walkthrough, so that's there if you don't have it yet. And then back on the middle level, out on this balcony, turn left, be a couple more perfumers here. Take them down. Random commoners just sitting around. And there will be a page off to the left here. And loot the upper class robe and take out that last commoner there. And then go back to where we just killed the 2 perfumers. And we'll drop down right here onto this balcony. And go back inside and downstairs. Back into this big room here, and we'll go outside. Up ahead, there's going to be a Leyndell night resting. I'm just going to sneak off to the left here. Also be another enemy hiding. Get some fan daggers. I honestly did not think you could sneak all the way over here, but that's amazing. Just decided to try that on a whim. Alright, and now keep going forward. Around the corner of this carriage. An item to pick up, golden rune 9. And then it's the route we just came from. On the other side of this building there is another alleyway. Couple dogs chowing down back here. Don't know what's wrong with that one. Third one in the corner. Cool, get those old fangs off the corpse, and then go kind of northwest, or just northwest. Bird Tree Avatar is going to spawn. We'll grab those gold fireflies, and then just run straight past him. I'm stuck. Alright, we'll go the other way. These golden double doors. And you got a grace here, which if you've been following the guide already, we already had this, but now is a decent time to rest anyway. And then you can also check the opposite corner of this platform here for a smithing stone 6. Now I'm kind of sectioning this this episode in particular into regions of Leyndell, which are kind of strange since it's like sitting on a diagonal here. But I have East Capital Ramparts, which is the section we just finished. Now we're going to start on Northeast Leyndell, and then we'll do Southwest Leyndell, and then finally West Capital Ramparts, which isn't necessarily like West Leyndell, but that's the name of a grace that we'll kind of use as a home base in that section. So that's honestly not even really important for you to know. That's just how I split it up for me to stay organized, but I figured I would tell you for some reason. So we'll go back upstairs and we'll deal with that Erd Tree avatar. Just walk out here a bit. It should spawn in. Ow. Oh no. Just give me the stagger, man. I know I'm being greedy, but I know what I want, and I'm willing to fight for it. There we go. Right before he died. 1 HP left. So kill him, get the, well, a Lord's Rune, not the Lord's Rune. You can already tell, this is going to be one of those episodes that I just can't talk. Get some holy grease up here on that caravan, and then with that out of the way, like I said, we'll go clear this northeast section of Leyndell. So follow this road down here until we can break off to the left down these stairs. It's a little fountain thing, and we'll start with this building on the left. Go down the lift. Sorry, just double checking I'm still recording because I will cry if I lose this episode. I love Leyndell, it's super cool, but like trying to plot a path through here to share with other people and then explain it to them, nightmare. Cannot recommend. Anyways, go down here. Guy off to the right, they'll try to grab you. Just be careful of that. Kill him, then deal with the others in the area. This golden rune 9 here. Kill him. Almost. There we go. One more. And then we'll go back up these stairs a bit so we can hop onto this roof, and then just keep hopping between the rooftops until you get over here. Hit the black bow. And then back to the base of these stairs, and this time you'll go down this path. Take out some more of these corpses. Get a gravel stone. And then this clearing off to the left, there's a skeleton hanging in the tree. Grab the item below. Take him out. Finish him off. A couple more over here. Make sure everyone's dead. Get a stone sword key there. And then across the street. Go down this path, down the stairs. And there's a short little bridge here. You can backstab this guy if you want, but don't keep going forward because you'll spawn in an ulcerated tree spirit. So for now, just drop down into this trench. Go to the end, loot the guilty hood there. And then turn around and into this tunnel. Should be some rats up ahead. Some hefty beast bones there. And then you can bait this guy down if you want. Kill him. And then there's a ladder right here that actually it's pretty easy to sneak past here, I think. There's an omen killer right there, so just crouch and run in here, and we'll grab this grace just in case. For the sake of organizing my route through this place, I'm not going to grab anything here just yet. We'll be back for it, but we are going to fight that ulcerated tree spirit right after this next room, and obviously that grace is super close, so feel free to grab it. Go inside this room. There's going to be a knight here. Absolutely destroyed. Dropped his armor, nice. And then, there you are. Grab a cracked pot, which should be the end of our collection if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we have all 20, so that's awesome. And now we go outside, and when we walk into this open area, that ulcerated tree spirit is going to spawn. So you can run back to this room right here and cheese it with ranged attacks, or just keep running back to safety to heal if you need to. Just be aware that it can easily hit you through this wall if you're not standing very far into the room. For the purposes of cheesing, just a reminder, they're susceptible to any status effect except sleep, and they don't like fire at all. So use fire if you have it. And you really don't have to kill this one. It drops a golden seed, and if you've been following along with the guide last episode, we actually maxed out our flasks, so any golden seeds we get from this point on are actually just useless to us, but I'll kill them anyway. Nice stagger. Explosion, watch out for the fire on the ground. Comes a grab attack, roll through it, finish him off, and golden seed. So there are a couple of random corpses here you can get if you killed him. Some golden arrows. Smithing stone 6, and I think that's pretty much it. So if you choose not to kill him, you're not really missing out on too much. But whichever route you decide to go, make your way back over to this graveyard area from before. And then we'll come over here to the right to get into the cellar with a ton of foot soldiers, including one right off to the right. Cut them all down. You can loot this corpse for some clarifying boluses and then crack open this gate and the chest inside for another stone sword key. And then climb this ladder here. And you can open this door for a shortcut back to the avenue balcony grace. Right here. And we'll come back for the rest of that sewer area down there that I skipped over, because that's starting to get pretty far west and I want to finish this northeast section up first. But for now you can just rest to this grace and then run back up to the main road. And we'll go back down to that area on the left at the fountain that we passed by a bit ago. Right here, and this time we'll go off to the right. And there's going to be a Crucible Knight. So friendly reminder, you cannot backstab these guys, so just hit it with a charged heavy or Ash of War or something instead. Down he goes with the corpses he is guarding for a Hero Rune 5, Golden Rune 9, and then down this hallway. Should make sure he didn't drop anything. I don't think he can drop anything. No, we're good. We already have their weapons and armor and all that stuff, so don't know what he would drop, but take the lift up. And crack open this door for a shortcut back to the East Capital Ramparts Grace, right where we started, so you can rest up if that Crucible Knight fight didn't go very well for you. Otherwise, we're going to run past all these envoys again. Hop down here, and then once we get to this platform with these three little guys, we'll hop off the edge to the right here. You'll know you're in the right spot because this imp will be hanging off the wall and try to drop down on you. I should have taken them out so they don't keep blowing bubbles, but that's fine. And from here we're just going to keep following these rooftops and using the ones with imps on them as our guide, basically. So if you see an imp, then go there, and if you can't find where to go next, then just look around, spam the lock-on button. Forgot about you. And it should lock on to the nearest imp so you'll know where to go. But get a Golden Rune 9 there. Why do I still hear footsteps? Here, we're good. And then there are a few things to loot if we were to like drop off the ground, or drop down to the ground right now. But we'll do that after we finish the rooftop, so hop over here. Next imp must die. And then we'll go this way. See, I got lost there. We hit lock on and we find them. Stone sword key. Hop across. Hop across. A Golden Rune 12. And then that should pretty much do it for the rooftop. And then we'll kind of backtrack a little bit here to right around here, and you'll see that Leyndell Knight down there. There's like this tower right here with the pointy golden roof, if you can't find it. There's two of them, but it's the leftmost one that he's staring at. And then we'll drop down between these two buildings, Smithing Stone 6, and then sneak up on him for a backstab. And then once he's dead, go behind either side of the building. So we'll tunnel across over there. If you go down the other side, Golden Rune 9. Drop down here. That was not the right button that I just pressed. Alright, god damn. Imp head corpse. Let's let this guy come to me. Alright, ignore this first path on the left. Keep going. Here, a couple foot soldiers. And then... don't... that's not what I wanted. You let him hit that horn, he's gonna call everybody, which is not ideal, so... it's best, honestly, to just stick to the shadows back here in this alleyway and not even... concern yourself with what all these guys are doing. But it is what it is. Easily recoverable. Loot all that stuff. And then this is where they're all hanging out. And in the corner there's just some Arteria leaves, so that's, like I was saying, not really worth concerning yourself with all them. I just got disoriented and poked my head out in the alleyway where I shouldn't have. But after that, let's go back out to the main road here. Hop over this railing and open these giant double doors, and we're right here all the way at the end of this main road here you can see on the map. So we'll kill this guy, and then between these two broken buildings over here we got a couple more. Fighting over some beast blood. Take them out. And then keep going forward. You should find some dogs. There's stationary dogs like these, and then some other ones like that one you see straight ahead that are just kind of patrolling around, so your experience through here might vary just slightly depending on how fast you clear it. Loot that corpse for gold or 9, keep going forward. Some Michaela's lilies here. And then there's going to be another dog and a Leonine Misbegotten over here, so I'm just going to buff up ahead of time. Just really hoping to get that dog first. There we go. We fought plenty of these guys. Try to spam jumping attacks to keep them staggered. They got a couple of hyper armor abilities like the roar and the stomp there, but most of their attacks you can stagger them out of with the jumping attack. Get the perfume bottle there, and that should be 10 out of 10 for those also. Yes, we are looking good. Clean up the rest of these Michaela's lilies. And then we'll start making our way back to the beginning of this area here. Lightning proof dried liver there. And start climbing this big staircase and then cut over here to the left as soon as you can. It's going to be a just not a reasonable number of Misbegotten in this area. A couple sleep grease there. And then down here in this pit, you can jump down and kill this guy. Somber Smithing Stone 6 behind the statue. And then keep going up the hill. There's going to be, like I said, a ton of Misbegotten up here. If you approach slowly, you should be able to catch the attention of the Leonine Misbegotten up here and lure him away from the group. That would be ideal. There's a perfumer up there too. I try pulling him with a bow and just see what happens. Spotted by someone. Let's see how this goes. Yep, got just him. Sweet. Like you saw there, aside from the stomp and the roar, you can just keep him stun locked basically. Alright, now I'm gonna see if I can sneak up. Well, doesn't really matter which one. I just don't want to fight both perfumers at the same time. So I just drop you quickly. Misbegotten army I can handle, but when the perfumers start buffing them and everything, that's when we have a problem. Seems like a lot of these guys are just gonna stay chilled out for us, so I guess only deal with the ones that are attacking you. Leave the rest alone. Anyway, grab some butterflies there. And that's pretty much it for over here. So, at the top of these stairs over here, or at the top of the big staircase we just climbed up rather, there's this elevator here. And you can go up it to find the Flame Drake Talisman +1, but we're going to go that way after we finish Leyndell, and we can't actually go any further until then anyway, because there's a seal at the top. And you don't really need the Flame Drake Talisman +1 right now because we already have the +2 version. So if you needed fire protection, that's the one you'd want to use anyway. But let's grab the talisman when we go through later. But I wanted to do this area now because it's kind of lame to have to clear out all these like trash tier enemies for some equally underwhelming loot right after a big boss fight and super important point in the story, which is what we will get at the end of Leyndell. So this way we can just run through there and get onto that next zone when we're ready. So with that, we'll warp back to Avenue Balcony Grace, which I just ran halfway back to because I was yapping. And now we'll do Southwest Leyndell. So go up the stairs. And kind of cross over diagonally to the left, up these stairs next to the carriage. At the top on the left here. Couple foot soldiers and a perfumer. Go for the perfumer first. And behind it is a corpse that would normally have a spinning stone 4 on it, but we've been through here. And then go behind this building here. There's going to be 2 more soldiers up here. Oh, that was sick. And then behind this building, off to the side of it, I guess, Golden Rune 8. And we'll go off this way to the east. Relax. Yeah, I don't like when you guys perfume. It's not acceptable. Not gonna fly with me. Now this guy should be... I mean, you can use this corner of this building here to get as close as possible. Wait out the fire, but he should be pretty easy to get behind. At which point it is a free kill. Be careful about this slope, or this corner back here. As you can see, it drops off drastically there, and that takes us back basically like... if you remember, we dropped down onto a foot soldier and a knight that was just standing over a few Mikola's lilies. It was like right at the beginning of this area, so super inconvenient to go back there. You can get back to where we are pretty quickly by just running past enemies, but it's even quicker just to not screw up and drop down there, so don't do it. Now, I know we just started the West Leyndell section, so naturally the first thing we did was go as far east as possible. I never claimed to be a good planner, but we'll go back up here, and there's going to be 2 Leyndell knights, so hopefully you can get them to split up a bit here. Usually I can get close enough that the Great Bow one gets curious and starts walking towards me, and then I'll hide behind this railing here to break line of sight and bait him into melee range. But just do whatever you need to not fight them at the same time, basically. So get this guy's attention, maybe. Well, this is gonna go horribly wrong if I force it, so we'll just be patient. Nice, got his attention. And not the other ones. Okay, I don't know why, I just like assumed he couldn't come down these stairs, but I did. Finish you with a backstab. And we got just this guy, but there is another soldier literally right around the corner of that building, so instead of dealing with them both like that, see if we can bait him over here. Yeah, that's hacking, dude. You saw me through the wall. Blatant. Do something, dance with me. Alright. Guard counter spam. Works like a charm every time. Gravelstone. Golden Rune 13. Couple more soldiers here. Back here, got a tarnished golden sunflower. And then, let's see, we'll do, yeah, over here first, I suppose. There's gonna be a lion and a perfumer right on the other side of this fountain, so sneak back here, and if you're quick, you should be able to get a backstab on this guy and just 1v1 the lion, which is plenty to deal with without the perfumer. Down he goes, Somber Spinning Stone 6, Beast Blood, Old Fangs. And then back here in this corner, a Golden Rune 10 and a Hero's Rune 2. And then this bridges out, but we'll be over on that side later in this episode. Stay tuned. I wish I hadn't said that. Alright, so we're gonna make a running jump to the roof of this gazebo. Almost missed, that would have been embarrassing. Stone Sword Key. Now above us is the Bolt of Gransax, and I know you're thinking, we should put that in our pocket. And we will. Now, technically, you're supposed to drop down from that next ledge up there, that railing way up there, which we can easily access after one of the bosses in this area, but you can get to it now by making a trickier jump as well. So from the right side of this gazebo, you want to jump right into the middle of the ledge on this right pillar right ahead of me. You want to jump, I don't know, it's the timing's kind of tricky because you have to jump before the edge of the gazebo to have enough height, but it's still kind of a far jump, so you have to jump close to the edge. It's a little hard to describe, might take you a couple tries, but again, if you're not getting it, we can just get it super easily later in the episode, and I'll point that out. And then once you reach it, you just jump up to that ash-covered ledge right there, and then climb up the bolts, and up there you can actually loot it. But if you miss that jump, or the one to the gazebo in the middle here, it happens. There's a perfumer below us, and a Leyndell knight over there, so just be ready for them if this doesn't work out. Didn't work out. Alright, with them dead, that guy too, there is a ladder right here too. We'll come back for that in a second. But for now, we'll go back out to this main road. Guy around the corner I forgot about. Don't do that. I think he just calls the guys that were back in there, so it probably wouldn't have mattered, but not taking any chances. So here's the main road, but if you look off to your left, there's a staircase here. And some loot behind it. Golden Rune 8. And this will take us back up to where we just were, so you can try the jump again. I'm gonna do it one more time. Just see if I can prove that it actually works. There we go. Up here. And then it's easy to like slide and fall off of this, so take this kind of slowly. Cool, that was close. Bolt of Gransax, another legendary armament for the achievement. Like I said, once again, we can just drop down from that railing up there, and I'll point that out in a bit, so don't stress about that jump. Don't waste too much time with it here. Now go up this staircase. Bait these guys down, because that's a knight up top. We don't want to deal with all three. Oh, that did a lot of stance damage. It's probably what that Ash of War does. I've never really used it, but it seemed like it just buffed his next attack. Alright, cool. Get a couple lightning-proof dried liver. This is locked for right now. We can't even interact with it, but we will soon. And then now just backtrack to where that ladder was I pointed out a second ago. And if you have any ranged attacks, you can hurt or outright kill this crawling hand right here even. I feel like you might be able to weirdly survive the fall down to the floor below us where that corpse is. Personally, I'm too emotionally attached to this golden rune I have activated right now. Or the rune arc rather, to test that theory. So I'm just gonna go this way. Kick that ladder down, hop down here. And if you didn't get it earlier, there's the Grace inside. On this bed we got Leyndell's armor, deathbed dress, and then yeah, we can just rest right now, no harm. And we'll go outside and kill this omen killer. Maybe. I'm pretty sure he always drops this mask for us. Yeah, it seems like that is the case. Smithing stone 6 right there, and then before we go... No, never mind. We'll go into the sewers now. So we'll drop down here. Should look somewhat familiar. Fought the ulcerated tree spirit up that way. Yeah, inside here. It's gonna be some rats to deal with. We'll go this way first, I suppose. Watch out for the crawling hands dropping from the ceiling. Don't trust that. We'll go through this other route here. I don't know what that guy's deal is. I don't really... I'm gonna play this safe. exactly what I didn't want to happen. Alright. Get some Lost Ashes of War, Somber Smithing Stone 4. That's why it's kind of nice to take that guy out from above, but we're alive, that's all that matters. Go back to this main route here. More rats, more hands. What more could you ask for? Get some string. Down that path to the right are some nascent butterflies. If you didn't grab them earlier in the walkthrough, you can like get them from the other side of that cage. Just reach through and grab them. Up ahead we come up behind a gargoyle. Free kill. Drop down in the pit. Get some fan daggers. Holy proof dried liver. And an Erd steel dagger. And then you can climb up the ladder to get out of here. Over here, got some dragon wound grease, and just turn around and face this way. So at the end of this walkway through that gate up ahead is the avenue balcony grace. So if you're low on health, it's emergency, you can just warp over to that right now and heal up and then come back here if you want. Now there's going to be a great bow wielding knight in the middle lane you can see right in front of us. Another one of the swords patrolling between the building and the railing on the left just out of sight. And a third one, also with a sword, alongside a ton of commoners, will be standing around on the right side between the building and railing. And there's only really one item here, so I'm just gonna wait for this guy to turn around, basically, and then we'll go in. Doing that, probably gonna alert the knight that was in the middle. You can usually hear that, so be ready for him to pop up over here. Yeah. Here we go. And then if you didn't watch when we came through this area earlier in the guide, you can just climb all the way up this wing, and then there will be a little spot to drop down, a ladder, a rune arc to loot, and you just go through a hallway essentially to get to West Capital Rampart, but I'm going to save like 10 seconds and just warp over here. But right down that hallway, you can see the dragon body sitting right in front there, so you'll figure out how to get over here. Alright, so from this Grace West Capital Ramparts, we're going to go outside and immediately down next to the stairs, then turn around again, get the cane sword, and then go out to the next area to find a few more of these Oracle envoys from earlier. Take them out with this golden rune 9, and then pull this lever and it's going to open that gate that was at the top of the stairs that I pointed out that we could not interact with earlier. It's right below us. And then go back upstairs over here and you'll see a gargoyle straight ahead. You know the drill with these by now, they're a pain and this location is not going to do us any favors, but we fight it anyway. I'm going to pull them away from the oracles though, just so it's at least a 1v1. Didn't have to do that. Don't push me off, please. That would also be sad. Ow. There's the halberd. Just prime location, like I was saying. Crystal clear view of every movement he makes. Finally a stagger. Mercy at long last. Alright, so kill him. Gonna get the gargoyle's halberd. And then over here where he was standing, take out these guys. Get a worthless golden seed. And then we'll go down this staircase. Drop off the left side to deal with this page so he doesn't unload a crossbow into our back and one-shot us. Smithing stone 6. And we hop down, we'll go up this hill. There's going to be a couple dogs to deal with. Up here. Grab the golden rune 9. I'm just gonna ignore that guy. And then head inside Fortified Manor, aka we have round table hold at home. Master Hugh would be sitting. Pick up the sanctified wet blade and hammer. And then the left where Fia and the cosmetic mirror would normally be. Grab the buy my sword gesture and the hero's rune 1. On the round table in the center, we got a rune arc. Behind the door where the 2 fingers and Enya would normally be. Got a really cool weapon I'm a fan of, if for no other reason than it looks like a lightsaber. Coated sword. I did not realize stubbing my toe on the throne would shatter it into pieces, but to be fair, we are getting pretty strong. Cross here to Rajer's balcony, get a smithing stone 5, and over to Gideon's office. For a Furl Calling Finger remedy. And then toward the Dung Eater room. For a Seedbed Curse, which should be number 4 if you got one from Bogart's. If not, then that should be number 3. And then we'll go back to where Hugh would normally be. Halfway down the stairs for a Smithing Stone 6, then drop down. Make a little U-turn. Got some black key bolts, 2 fingers prayer book, and then in this room over here there's just a bunch of commoners hanging out. We'll go back to this main hall over here. Double check too, I don't think there's anything back here, but you can get behind here. Yeah, we're good. So in the middle of the room, there will be a red summon sign for Bernal's Volcano Manor quest, but we'll just ignore that for a second. Go loot this guy for Alberic's armor set. In the corner, Smithing Stone 5. And then into the next room. Get the Fortified Manor first floor grace. And the Flightless Bird painting. Since we just got a grace, there's really no better time than to go collect the rewards for that, since we can come straight back here. So warp to Windmill Heights. And then just mount up and run slightly south to that house straight ahead with the dancing ladies outside of it. Take them out, Get a gold firefly, and then the painting should spawn, or the painter rather, spawns in right here. Get the Fire's Deadly Sin incantation, and then warp back to Fortified Manor. And we'll get on with Bernal's quest. And man, I gotta say, Elden Ring players are, they're just so soft. It's not even their fault either. But, you know, back in my day, when you invaded an NPC, even for a noble cause, like reviving a Firekeeper, it was a 1v3. None of this 2v2 nonsense we're about to experience. Go for whichever one you want. Bernal should be able to keep the other one locked down, no problem. And down they go. Back in our world, we get the Raging Wolf set. Super cool. Probably my favorite armor set in the game. And then again, Grace is right there, so there's really no harm in warping out of here to collect our other rewards. So go back to Volcano Manor. Go talk to Bernal. Gelmir's Fury incantation. And then, if Dialis is still here for you, hopefully he has this line about what an easy mark he must have been. If not, talk to him, exhaust his dialogue, and go rest. But resting after he says that line should send him to his next location in Jarburg at this point. If he just isn't moving for whatever reason, then killing Rykard will force him out of Volcano Manor like everyone else. And he should move to Jarburg that way. And if you go that route, or if you do have to go that route, just do this next step we're about to do after Rykard, which we'll do pretty much right after finishing that last Volcano Manor assassination in the next area, and I'll remind you to check Jarburg again once we get there. But yeah, Dialis is gone. And if he is gone, warp to Jarburg down in Liurnia. And we're gonna go speak with our dog, Jarbairn.
Oh, have you? I think he seems.
Tell you about the new potentate with silky smooth hands, aka Dialos.
But I wish.
Talk to him a couple times to exhaust his dialogue, and then run over to the end of the village. Find Dialos tending to one of the jars, speak to him.
Do you pity me? You pity me.
Sure he's doing well. Should say something about being asking if we pity him. And then the next phase of the quest involves triggering a poacher attack on Jarburg, which is a little hit or miss. The only definite requirement is making sure Jarbairn and Dialis are both in Jarburg and their dialogue is exhausted. Jarbairn talking about how he wishes they had a stronger potentate, and Dialis telling you not to pity him. After that, what works most reliably for me is resting at the Grace and passing the time to Nightfall for one, so we'll try that. And then once it's nighttime, you also need to reset the area, which resting at the Grace doesn't seem to do on its own for me. I'll try it just in case. Nope. So just warp to anywhere else, basically. And then warp right back. Always try saving and quitting the game too, whatever works for you. That still didn't work, we'll rest again. And there we go, finally. So, if it worked, you'll see Jarbairn is no longer sitting on the steps of the house nearby, and the jars that are usually playing between us and him have been smashed. So start walking the town, find Jar Baron, talk to him to find out what happened,
I won't cry.
exhaust his dialogue,
Even if I'm that's the kind. Even if I'm
and then go to the center of town to find Dialis laying on the ground, speak to him, and for the purposes of the quest, it doesn't matter how you respond to his question, but just know that you're a bad person in real life if you don't tell him that he defended them. And he kind of falls limp. We'll go back, rest at the Grace. Then go back to where Dialis was. Speak to Jar Baron to exhaust his dialogue again.
that's the kind one who
And then rest one more time. And Jar Baron should be at his original location again. Speak to him. He's going to tell you he's going on a journey as a warrior jar.
as a warrior.
And then back down to the center one more time. Loot Dialis' corpse for his helmets, a Newman's rune, and another, well, not another, a Hoslow's pedal whip, which is not the only one we'll get in this playthrough. And then if you rest one more time, you can speak to Jar Baron one last time if you want.
Oh no.
And he's just going to say that he hasn't changed his mind and is still planning to leave. But he's not actually going to go anywhere until we finish Alexander's questline, so he'll be hanging out there for us. And that is the end of Dialis' questline, almost the end of Jar Baron's questline. But with that, we will get back to work in Leyndell. So we're back to Fortified Manor. And over here to the left, you can crack open these doors. And this is going to lead us into a very long hallway that wraps around a courtyard. There are two abductor virgins in this area, one in the courtyard and one patrolling the hallway. In the courtyard, along the walls, you can find a couple pieces of loot. But I'm just going to run like a madman here and not deal with them. Stormhawk axe there. And then directly across from it, some butterflies. And if you go in here and off to the left, Somber Smithing Stone 6. And then connected to the courtyard is a large wooden elevator that you can take to escape this place. Now at the top you'll find the Divine Bridge Grace, which you might have actually unlocked already. If you climb to the top of the Tower of Return, I believe it's called, in Weeping Peninsula, way down here you see a little structure next to my cursor. I didn't cover it because all it does is take you to Leyndell. I probably should have mentioned it. Maybe I did, I don't know. That was a long time ago. But it would teleport you up here. It's like there's a chest to the top of it. It's a teleporter trap. So you get ensnared in that and wind up here. But the only way out is warping away, because to get the elevator up here, well, you saw everything we just had to go through. But if you didn't explore this area earlier in the game, there's some treasure over here by a sleeping golem. So we'll take him out, and then there's a chest over here. Get us the Blessed Dew Talisman, and then opposite this is a Waygate, which you can safely ignore for now. It'll teleport you to the Isolated Divine Tower, which we... Can you not see it from here? Guess it's one of these. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But that's where we'll activate Millennia's Great's Rune later in the game. There's no grace we can reach there for now, though, since the tower's sealed up tight, so we'll just warp back to Fortified Manor again. Backtrack to the main hall one more time. And we'll go outside through the main entrance, and off to the left there's going to be 2 Leyndell Knights by Grand Sax's feet. The Great Bow one up top will continuously fire lightning arrows at you, so lure the other one out of his line of sight to make your life easier. Melee one is also capable of some ranged attacks too, so just make sure to keep an eye out on him to avoid getting hit with unexpected thunderbolts. At some point, Bow 1 could get frustrated and just try to hop down, so also be aware that that is a possibility. I just want to backstab you, and I'd appreciate not tripping on every tiny little pebble in my way. There we go. I am happy and satisfied. Alright, kill him, get the Gravelstone Seal back here in this corner, some old fangs, and then see if you can get him to hop down. Nah, it's fine. We can just climb up there and get him. And that, dragon... Or no, the Gravelstone Seal. That boosts Dragon Cult incantations, not to be confused with Dragon Communion incantations. Dragon Cult pretty much means anything related to like Red Lightning or just ancient dragon related in general, these like stone ones. While the Dragon Communion incantations are the ones you get by cashing in Dragon Hearts at the Church of Dragon Communion or the Cathedral. Those are the ones where you usually conjure Dragon Head, and they're mostly like breath attacks and stuff. There's another seal conveniently called the Dragon Communion Seal that will boost the strength of those. So anyway, with that, grab all that loot, and then over here it's got this like one claw sticking up. Hop off the edge, make kind of a tricky jump to get up here. You can just barely make it. Smithing Stone 6, Stone Sword Key. And then, in the interest of not fighting any more dogs than I have to in this playthrough, we're just going to warp back to West Capital Ramparts. We'll go outside. Over to this giant root. And start climbing until we get to a high point. Take out the enemies along the way just to be safe. And then right here where it splits, we're going to go down this lower path that kind of wraps underneath the other route. To get back down to land. Take out these poison blooms. Maybe I won't actually. Maybe if you're going to be so rude, I'm just going to ignore you. We'll come down here. This is where that broken bridge was, where we fought the Lion Guardian on the other side. And grab that smithing stone 6, and then we'll backtrack and climb up this route again. And we will follow the upper path when we get up there this time. Now these routes are pretty wide, but if you've played Dark Souls before, you know how it is with these. Just take it slow, don't trust the edges because you will slide right off. Personally, I like to just kind of ignore these enemies because their movesets make them jump around a lot, which just kind of baits you into rolling off the edge, I feel like. And I also feel like they can get a lot closer to the edge than we can, so you get this false sense of security when you go attack them. But come down here, down this roof, and this might be a good spot to turn around and deal with them, honestly. Because around the corner is another one. And it would be unfortunate if you came back here in this corner, grabbed that item, and turned around and there were just 8 of them right on you. Once you grab the Holy Grease, run up here. It is time to fight Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, at least his phantom version of him. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's like 90% just him swinging his axe. He does have one kind of nasty move to look out for. You want to watch his front foot. Stomps and makes those spikes come out, kind of like a Crucible Knight would. But it's really fast, as you saw there. You can either roll through them or jump. But other than that, you're just avoiding getting cleaved by this giant axe. Which has like slightly deceptively long range. I feel like he kind of stretches out his body to like make sure it reaches every last inch. More so than your character does when they swing, and more so than most enemies do when they swing. So just kind of a slightly different attack style than you're maybe used to with axe wielding enemies. See, like, that just, it always reaches me, and I feel like it's so close to not reaching me, but then it does, and then I'm like, oh man, that reached me, how unfortunate. We get a talisman pouch, which is our 4th and final talisman pouch. That's how you know we're getting close to the end of the game. That and the fact that this walkthrough is past 30 episodes, and we have all these items, and we're finishing our collection of all kinds of other things. There are several subtle hints marking the end of this game. Let's go with something like, I don't know. Taking less physical damage sounds nice. Put that on. So grab this grace that spawns. Rest up if you need to. I suck, I got hit, so I'm gonna rest up. And we'll check this small room in the northwest corner over here for a somber smithing stone 5, and then we'll go outside to the east over here. Get some more holy grease, just swimming in that stuff at this point. And then, I don't think there's an item here, but we will check. We're good. So we'll climb up this route. To reach the 2nd floor of this building, go outside and immediately turn left and hop down onto this roof. And then jump through the broken window. Open the chest for the Erd Tree bow, And then you can check this next room over here for a Celestial Dew, and kick this ladder down for a very strange shortcut back down to downstairs. Feel like it didn't really take us that long to climb up here the long way, but who am I to complain about another shortcut? Got the Golden Order Principia there, and then hop down here and we'll go outside again. Just before you get to the building up ahead, you're going to find a Black Knife Assassin, so just be ready for that. If you're in a dire position somehow after fighting the 0 enemies between the Grace we were just at and this, then you could run past her, I suppose, because there's another Grace here. Down she goes. And in this room, activate the Grace and hop up here for the Blessing of the Erdtree incantation. And up just ahead is the boss encounter, the main boss encounter for this area, I should say. Before we go do that, let's go back to West Capital Ramparts. Run this way again, and instead of climbing up the roots, we will go below them. Double check the recording. Still looking good. Doing pretty good on time too. I thought this would take longer. Thought there was no way I would be done with this, and like I was hoping, maybe optimistically, I could get this done in 2 hours, but looking like we're gonna be pretty well under. Anyway, so we follow this path up the hill. We're gonna take out this duelist halfway up. You can farm these guys for their armor. It's this one and another one just past him. But just as I was explaining earlier, this is something that occurs in Leyndell, so if you want to do that, do it now before it turns into, or before we finish the, what am I trying to say? Farum Azula. You can't come back and do it later. Grab the Ritual Shield Talisman from the stairs there, and then run over here to find Gold Mask and Brother Corin hanging out. Bunch of dudes there too. Before we talk to them, you can dip over here. Grab the the Star Fist. It is still kind of a spiked fist though when you think about it, so at the end of the day, I still feel like I was correct in saying that. Smithing Stone 5, and then speak to Brother Corin about the Noble Gold Mask. Also, I should mention this now before I forget. I'll just keep talking over him, keep spamming about the Noble Gold Mask until he's repeating himself. But you have to do these steps before traveling to Farum Azula. Everything else I've said around here, you can't finish Farum Azula because it'll kind of lock you out of Leyndell essentially. But for these guys specifically, for this quest here, for Brother Corin and Gold Mask, you cannot even go to Farum Azula, so make sure, well, I mentioned earlier, but after we finish the next area, Mountaintop of the Giants, we get sent straight to Farum Azula. Now, avoiding spoilers as much as I can, we basically go there right after beating a boss called the Fire Giant. So once you find something called the Fire Giant, just remember, if you haven't done these steps for this quest and you still want to, that would be your last opportunity to do so. But I think he's repeating himself now. I think, yes, okay, we're good. You guys probably heard him say that like 9 times. I just zoned out really bad. My bad. So, now then, what he's saying, foreshadows a really interesting plot twist in the story. But once he's repeating himself, you want to talk to him again and select Give Prayer Book. Now before you do anything, the prayer book rule still applies that I established much earlier in the walkthrough, which is just give all the prayer books to the turtle, because he doesn't have a questline, he never moves. If you've been slacking on bringing books to the turtle, you might have a few to turn in here. The one we're interested in is the one we just picked up, the Golden Order Principia. Don't give him anything else, save it for the turtle. You can also still bring the Golden Order Principia to the turtle, but it only holds 2 incantations, which are the Law of Regression here for 10,000 runes, and Radagon's Rings of Light for 7,500 runes. And we're going to want to buy those right now. The only one we actually need for this questline is Law of Regression. Rings of Light just happens to be in this book also. And if you only want to spend the 10,000 for Law of Regression right now and wait to buy Radagon's Rings of Light later, then I guess probably just take it to the turtle so that you can buy that later. Otherwise, just give it to Corin and buy them both now. And at the end of the game, if you missed anything from Corin, you can always just get his bell bearing and buy whatever he had in his inventory from the Twin Maiden Husks back at Roundtable Hold. So it's not a big deal long term. I just like having everything in one place with the turtle. So once you buy it, you can read its description and go equip it and try to use it, and nothing is really going to happen. And this is where the questline gets really weird. So we're going to use the Law of Regression incantation to solve this riddle that's stumping Goldmask and Corin. The annoying part is that despite being an incantation, Law of Regression just requires a pure 37 intelligence to cast. Now, I don't know if this is just some kind of sick joke about how you have to really be big braining this game to figure out this step of the quest, but requiring 37 intelligence to finish up the Prophets, aka the Faith questline, is just really strange to me. Now, if you're doing the questline because it's the Prophet/incantation user questline, then you probably don't have 37 intelligence. But maybe if you believe harder, you'll get that intelligence you need. If you're doing the questline just to do the questline or get the ending or whatever, then maybe you do have 37 intelligence, but there's still a good chance you don't. You have 2 options. If you've been speedrunning the game and walked past a lot of the items, the easiest thing to do would probably be to cough up 2 larval tears, respec once to do this step of the quest, and then respec again to go back to your original build. If you have been following the guide though, we have all kinds of intelligence boosting gear that, believe it or not, can get us all the way to 37 intelligence no problem, pretty much regardless of your situation. So first, go to your helmet slot and look at the glintstone crowns. All of these increase intelligence when equipped between 2 and 3 levels, except for the Twin Sage glintstone crown, which gives +6 intelligence. Double the heads, double the intelligence. Duh. Obviously. I know you can find it in Raya Lucaria Academy, that's all I remember off the top of my head though. I only have 1 head myself. Next, there are a couple of talismans that you can equip for some extra intelligence. Marika's Scar Seal gives +3 intelligence. You get this by the waterfall near the Dragonkin Soldier in Shifa River. We don't get Marika's Soar Seal, the upgraded version, for quite a bit still, but on the off chance you're a New Game Plus and you do have it, that one will give +5 intelligence instead. Speaking of +5 intelligence, we do also have the Stargazer's Heirloom, which will give us +5 intelligence. Get that from the top of the Divine Tower of Liurnia. Next, Godric's Great Rune, which we have active right now, gives +5 to all attributes. Guess what? Intelligence is an attribute. That's another +5 intelligence. You'll have to equip the Great Rune and pop a Rune Arc to get that bonus, and we are absolutely making waves here, and we're not even done. I'm already up to 28 intelligence. The Grafted Blade Greatsword from the final boss of Castle Morn. Yes, the Game of Thrones sword. Unique skill. Oath of Vengeance. Swear an Oath of Vengeance upon the Greatsword to avenge the clan, temporarily raising all attributes for a certain duration. While the oath's effects are active, poise will also be increased. That was awkward. That last part wasn't actually important, and I read it out loud anyway. That sucks. But that's going to temporarily raise all attributes by 5. That's right. You heard it right. +5 intelligence. You do need to meet the minimum requirements to wield a weapon for the skill to actually do anything though, and this thing takes 14 dex and 40 strength to wield, so I'm gonna throw it on anyway. That's a lot of strength, but watch this. That's not what I meant to do at all. There we go. Boom. We two-hand it, now we have 50% more strength. With two hands, we only need 27 strength for that skill to work. Don't have that? Godric's Great Rune is still giving you +5 strength and +5 dex. Are you still short? No problem. If my math is correct, we still have 2 free talisman slots. Radagon's Sword Seal from the inside of Fort Feroth up in Dragon Barrow is going to give us +5 strength and +5 dex. Still short on strength? I say it wrong every time, dude. The Star Scourge Heirloom is going to give you +5 more strength. You get that from Fort Gale. Were you actually short on dex? No problem. Swap that bad boy for the Prosthesis Wear Heirloom from Millicent's questline for +5 dexterity. And finally, the ultimate weapon, the Intelligence Knot Crystal Tear from the bottom of the cliff in front of Caria Manor in Liurnia. Mix that into your Flask of Wondrous Physic and take a sip for +10 intelligence. Altogether, minus Marika's Sword Seal, of course, that's going to give us +34 intelligence. 36 if you did have Marika's Sword Seal. Even if you couldn't get the stats for the Grafted Blade Greatsword, that's still +29 intelligence. If that doesn't get you to 37 intelligence, your character literally just has terminal stupidity. Jokes aside though, the lowest int that you can have to start out is 7 if you started with the hero, or of course the Prophet. Again, so messed up that the Prophet, the class most suited to a faith-oriented questline, is one of the two that will struggle here. But that +29 will put you at 36 int, just one short of the required level. Dark Souls 2 had a system in place for this where you could trade a consumable item to permanently reduce either the intelligence or faith requirement of a spell, and that's one of the many reasons Dark Souls 2 is criminally underrated, but now is not the time for that conversation. For hero, chances are you probably have a somewhat melee-focused build and shouldn't have a problem hitting that strength requirement for the Grafted Blade Greatsword, because even Godric's Great Rune alone would get you to 14 dexterity even if you've never leveled it before, and hero starts with the highest base strength at 16, so those strength boosts will get you there no problem. For Prophet, same deal, just the Great Rune alone will get you past 14 dexterity. You start with 11 strength, so Godric's Great Rune plus Radagon's Sword Seal plus Star Scourge Heirloom will get you to 26 out of 27 strength to be able to use that weapon art. Assuming you never leveled a single melee stat, you'll either have to put 1 point into intelligence or 1 point into strength. Oh, but wait. The Wondrous Physics wouldn't be very wondrous if we could only mix 1 tier into it, now would it? No. We can put 2 crystal tiers into our Wondrous Physic. Strength not crystal tier for that last strength level. GG's, there you go. Basically, no matter how dire it seemed when you read 37 intelligence, you should be able to swing it if you've been not running past all the items in the game. So, warp to Erdtree Sanctuary. Right here. We're going to rest, equip Law of Regression, which should be no problem because once again, following the guide, I hooked you up and we have all of our memory stones now. We will drink up this Intelligence Knot Crystal Tear. What else? What else? Still need some strength. Put in the Strength Knot Crystal Tear. Let me just double check before I run down there. I can equip the sword now, activate that, and I'm sitting at 43 intelligence. We're chilling, absolutely chilling. Rest to refill that flask, and let's go out the main door here. Ride this lift to the bottom. We'll need a seal for this as well, but should be able to figure out how to swing that too. Read this message here. Regression alone reveals secrets. That's our cue. Buff, 2 hands. Use the skill. Law of regression, and the statue turns into America, which is kind of strange. And if that didn't make any sense, there's a new, very clear-cut message that appears in front of us. Radagon is America. There we go. It all makes sense now. Alright, now, before we go and relay that information, going to fix my stuff here. And we'll explore this little side area real quick. So go down here, kill these 2 perfumers. Absolutely free. With the corpse for some holy grease. And then in the middle of the walkway ahead is an invisible teardrop scarab right around here. That would have been cool if I actually got it. He's gonna try to bait us into a Crucible Knight. Let's not take the bait. That's not the kind that disappears, so just... don't worry about it. Fight the Crucible Knight, worry about the scarab later. Down he goes. Unfortunate. Gotcha. Get the barrier of gold incantation. And then right over here is where you can actually hop over this railing and drop down to that altar before to climb up and get the Bolt of Grand Sack. So if you didn't get that earlier, here's where you would hop off and do that. But assuming you did get that earlier, warp back to West Capital Rampart. We're just going to make our way back to Gold Mask and Brother Corin. It just occurred to me, I'm not sure if these duelists would follow you over there or not if you tried to run past them. I usually just kill them to try to get the armor for reasons that I explained a second ago. But probably kill them to make sure they don't assassinate Gold Mask. That would be very, very sad. So talk to Gold Mask and tell him that Radagon is America. And as you can see, he is absolutely mind blown by this knowledge. Gets you the Golden Order of Totality gesture. Speak to Corin. And when he's done speaking, you can choose Study Incantations. And you can now purchase the Immutable Shield incantation. If you really want this, not a bad idea to just pick it up now. And then you can choose the About the Noble Gold Mask option again for a bit more dialogue. I love this particular piece of dialogue because, for one, Corin just somehow didn't hear us tell Gold Mask that Radagon is America, like 5 feet away from him. 2, we didn't bother telling him at all, only Gold Mask. That's also kind of funny to me. And 3, he gathered that information from just the way that Gold Mask's finger moved. This questline is insane. I love it. So, once you leave the area, Gold Mask and Corn will move to their next location in Mountaintops of the Giants. One final reminder, if you want to finish this questline, you have to do these steps that we just did before Farum Azula. So with that, we're back to Queen's bedchamber. And get ready to face off against Morgott, the Omen King. So this is the true version of Morgott, the Fell Omen, pretty much the first big boss we fought in the game. Because of that, you'll definitely recognize a lot of his moveset. But there's quite a bit more to this version of the fight. Now, I'll explain the moveset more once we get inside. But as for general information before we start, you can summon Dung Eater for this fight if he's alive and not, well, dead. I don't really know where I was going with that. Killing his physical form in his cell or defeating his invader form in the moat outside Leyndell where Bogart was will count as killing him as far as summoning is concerned. So unfortunately he will not be here if you've been following the guide to a T. And anyone can summon Melina, who uses some really nice Erdtree healing incantations this fight. She also has a super cool, unique death animation, which you can pretty much only see here unless you kill her yourself, which is possible, but kind of not very straightforward since you only actually see her while you're sitting at a grace. Definitely look up a video of killing Melina though if you're interested, it's kind of funny. But anyway, as far as Morgott, he's got a whole lot of weaknesses. For one, Margit's Shackle still works, which reminds me, I'm going to put that on my hotbar here. There we go. You can use it to stun him twice, but only in phase 1, so make sure to make the most of it before he reaches about half health, 60% or so. As far as his resistances are concerned, he's extremely vulnerable to, I mean, pretty much everything. So despite the fact that he has a pretty intense moveset, unless you're running a pure holy build, which is the one thing that he is resistant to, most people should be able to really shred through his health bar. Status effect resistances are pretty low for a boss, except for sleep, and he only has resistance to, holy as far as elements go, like I was just saying. All that being said, I think it's mostly to make up for the fact that you don't get too many chances to hit him. He's pretty aggressive, so you do need to make every hit count. If you're keeping him locked down with the shackle and breaking his stance on top of that, you'll tear right through him. But if you let him jump around freely, he is super mobile and has pretty overwhelming combos. So if you want to summon, I'd really try to lean into stance breaks, staggers. Otherwise, I'd probably go solo or just summon Spirit Ashes that don't increase his health. Because you, I don't want to say you're racing against the clock in this fight, but there's kind of two versions. One where you just absolutely annihilate him before he even has a chance to fight back, and the other version where he is kind of just dog walking you because you don't have enough stamina and heals to manage him. A couple of the notable new attacks he has in his arsenal, there's this rain of holy swords that'll form an X shape on the ground when they land, so while they're floating in the air before they fall, just look up and position yourself between the arms of the X shape to avoid damage. There's also a cluster right around his actual body though, so don't try to stand next to him and get some free damage right then. It's probably not worth getting hit by all the swords. At half health, he's going to hunch over, cough a few times, and then let out an explosion which coats the arena in liquid. And this works like any water in the game. So you and Morgott both get a 20% increased resistance to fire and 20% less resistance to lightning. If you're comfortable with the timing on that explosion, you can attack him while he's coughing and roll through it point blank and get some more damage in after as well. Otherwise, you'd probably just want to run away when he starts coughing to avoid the explosion. And the two new abilities in phase 2 that he'll get are Blood Flame attacks with his sword, both of which are very punishable actually. They're like very large attacks that leave him open to counterattack. The first one, he lifts his sword up, buffs it with blood, then slams it down, and the swing leaves an exploding trail of blood flame, kind of like Estella's Nebula thing, where he like swiped, made the cloud of dust, and then it exploded afterwards. If you try to run too far away, he can also dash forward first, then do a double slash that will also leave exploding blood flame trails. and he kind of delays both those swings, so it can be a little hard to dodge. I actually recommend trying to just get close and ideally behind him when he buffs, since you can basically guarantee the slam or forward thrust if you aren't far enough away to warrant him dashing to you. And the other attack is essentially the same thing, but instead of a slash, he does a thrust, which I just mentioned, but it's a grab attack. You'll get impaled, picked up, thrown. It's super embarrassing. Everyone will laugh at you. All the Blood Flame attacks will build up your bleed meter a bit, not significantly enough for it to really be something to worry about most of the time. But yeah, let's get to it. Now, sometimes you don't even see the phase transition because it just depending on when you use Morgott's Shackle and how much damage you're unloading into him when you use it. Okay, let's relax, let's relax, let's relax. Get some charged heavies, get a nice stagger there. And then before he transitions, in with that again, and I was too late. Alright. Off my weapon. Offing, I'm out of stamina. Didn't really plan that very well. There's the grab attack. It's going to be embarrassing, just like I said it would be. Throwing around like I'm nothing, like I'm worthless. So yeah, he's got like all kinds of new acrobatic attacks once he goes into phase 2 here. We're just really in this fight in general. New holy weapon transformations. You see I've kind of just lost my momentum here. Like we got him really low and now he's just flying all over the place like I said he would. But let's just put him down. It's really just a matter, like I was saying earlier, of just locking him down and overwhelming him with damage, because you saw when I was hitting him consistently, he takes a ton of damage and honestly just doesn't really have that much health, it seems like. But if you let him get away from you, then he starts really controlling the pace of the fight and has some super long, overwhelming combos. So just really try to work on timing your uses of Morgott's Shackle. Try to use that second one around 60% so that you can use it just before the phase transition locks you out of it and you can't use it anymore. Because that way you can just get an insane amount of damage and get him super low before he really has a chance to pop off with his phase 2 moves. But you get his Great Rune and the Remembrance of the Omen King. You can trade the Remembrance for Morgott's Cursed Sword or a tool you put on your hotbar called the Regal Omen Bairn. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right still, but it does have an N at the end of it for sure. Which is the... I guess we don't have... There's like a weaker version of it, a non-Regal Omen Bairn that you get in the sewers underneath Leyndell, so we'll go get that pretty soon. But I don't have anything to compare it to at the moment. Don't forget to go over to where he died, speak to him after the fight to hear his dying words. Now there's a major plot point coming up right now, so if you want to see it for yourself, just pause here, kill Morgott, and go through this sequence in your game before continuing the video. But after he is dead... Penetrable thorns refuse all, none may enter the Erdtree. Unfortunate. It's been real, we tried. Turn around, this Grace will spawn over here. Middle of the arena. Activate that and rest. And you can talk to Melina.
Hello again. Old friend, allow me you are planted the thorn, a husk of the only way, and become my purpose. So I'd like you to the flame then and guide.
So she explains the situation, hands us the rolled medallion, and makes a red mark on our map where we need to go next. Talk to her again if you want.
And guide you.
So, like Melina just said, our next stop is to get the Flame of Ruin and set the Erd Tree aflame. So now that the cat's out of the bag about trying to burn the Erd Tree, I can stop dancing around that spoiler. When we reach the Flame of Ruin and initiate that process, we get sent immediately to crumbling Fair Missoula, and when we get back, due to the burning, Leyndell, which was right below the tree, will be covered in ash and be renamed to Leyndell Ashen Capital, which is why you can't come back through here to get everything later. Pretty much all gets buried. And just to be clear, that happens once we officially get back from Fair Missoula, aka after killing the last boss in Fair Missoula called Malekith. You can warp in and out of Fair Missoula and still access Leyndell Royal Capital and everything else in the world until then. Killing the final boss is the actual trigger, which will also make sense when we get there. So from now on, if I reference Leyndell Ashen Capital, I'm talking about something that happens after you kill the final boss of Fair Missoula. Finally, Melina taking us to the Flame of Ruin applies to every ending to the game except the Frenzied Flame ending. For that, you'll want to go explore underneath Leyndell first, but we'll meet an NPC at the beginning of the next zone that tells us to do that, so this will come up again in conversation in the next episode. For now, no matter which ending you want to do, including Frenzied Flame, you're good to keep following the guide as is. We're going to go do everything in Mountaintops of the Giants and beyond, get all the loot, do the quest lines, etc. And right before we get to the Flame of Ruin at the end, where you actually do have to make a choice of which ending you want, I'll stop, explain all this again, and show how to do the stuff under Leyndell, so you'll be able to see both options when we come to that point. Now then, onto the Post-Morgott checklist, if you will. There are not a whole lot of loose ends to tie up after Morgott, since this is one of the very few linear points in the story. I'm going to grab some more endurance while I'm sitting here. Probably best not to carry around almost 400,000 runes. But yeah, unlike most areas, there's only one way to get to Mountaintop of the Giants, and it's through Leyndell and Morgott. First order of business, again, I probably sound like a broken record, but finish anything related to Leyndell as soon as possible if you skipped anything here that you want to do later. That includes all the stuff with Goldmask and Corrin, as well as Bernal's Volcano Manor invasion. Aside from unlocking the next area, defeating Morgott is actually the final step in the questlines for Nepheli Loux, Kenneth Heights, and Gatekeeper Gostock. Kenneth and Gostock both pretty much just hinge on finishing Nepheli's questline, but keeping Nepheli alive by not giving her Celavis's potion, giving her the Stormhawk King, and defeating Morgott will cause all three of them to move to the Stormvale Castle throne room. So warp over to the Godric the Grafted Grace right here in Stormvale Castle. Slight correction, it should cause them to move. It usually doesn't work first try, at least if you come straight here. If Gostock is still over there outside kicking Godric's corpse, you'll know you need to reset this area. So first, just try resting at the Grace. If that doesn't work, which it didn't, try resting at a different Grace. And if that doesn't work, rest at a different Grace, then come back to the Godric Grace and rest at that one again. One of those should do the trick. So I'm just going to run over here to the secluded cell. Run back in here. And it appears that he is inside, so we're good to go. You know it works when Gostock has disappeared, and once he's gone, you can go into this throne room to find all three NPCs I just mentioned. We'll start by talking to Nepheli a few times.
I must thank you. I told Father, I remembered that this land is mine. I will call up.
And she will give us an ancient dragon smithing stone. Feel free to keep talking to her until you exhaust her dialogue. There we go, talk to Kenneth and he'll tell you that he's going to return to Fort Height soon, where he'll make you a knight, so don't forget to not check back there because he's straight up lying to you. Empty promise, he'll never leave this spot and he'll never make you a knight. You just have to settle for becoming Elden Lord and ascending to godhood. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers. And we talk to Gostock. finally get a confession about that whole looting corpses thing. And you'll be able to buy another Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone from him here for 20,000 runes. I don't know who died in Stormville Castle with one of those in their pocket, but I'm not complaining. And just a reminder that there are a maximum of 13 Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones per playthrough, and 4 of them come from the end of quest lines. Not necessarily just these quest lines, but that was 2 right there. So definitely don't forget to buy that if you plan on maxing out a lot of weapons. You will not get a ton of others in this game. The other thing we can do is head back to Round Table Hold to get a bit more dialogue. First, let's go in here, I guess, and talk to Enya. And you see the 2 fingers are on a phone call with the Greater Will right now. They are busy. Select the I want to burn the impenetrable thorns option. And then how to burn the thorns. And then you can also trade in the remembrance from Morgott and buy his crusty ass cloak while you're here too if you really want to. There's a fly that just landed on my microphone. That's ruining my day. Bro, go away. What the? Just landed. What's your problem? That fly feels heavy, dude. That was a heavyweight fly. I just slapped him out of the air and he didn't even budge. He didn't care. Maybe I'm just weak. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting very distracted. So go over to Gideon. And he might have something to say about, like, sarcastically about helping Nefeli, if you haven't talked to him since then. But you can say, where should I go? And he'll have some dialogue. And then with Morgott dead, you can also talk to him about unlocated demigods, and he'll mention 4 more that have yet to be located, to his knowledge at least, and he'll offer to reward you for knowledge regarding their whereabouts. The one we're interested in right now is the Lord of Blood. I should also mention that this is another thing that gets locked once you finish Farum Azula, so make sure to not only locate the remaining demigods before you kill the last boss of Farum Azula, but also bring that information back to Gideon. I'll do things in that order in the walkthrough, obviously, so if you're following along, you have nothing to worry about. Now, it's going to be quite the throwback, but by this point in the game, everyone should be good to move on with Vare's questline, even if you were playing offline, or maybe you were online and just forgot or didn't feel like doing invasions, I don't know. But remember way back in Liurnia, when I went over that whole thing where Vare wanted us to do 3 invasions. Most recently, I mentioned it at Writhed-Blood Ruins and Altus Plateau because there was eventually a patch to the game that added a red NPC summon sign there that anyone could use to get past the invasion section of Vare's questline while playing offline. Check your inventory. It's going to be in this first section called Tools. See if you have an item called the Pure Blood Knight's Medal right between Prattling Pates and Golden Runes. If yes, you can ignore the next little bit of ranting. If not, no problem, it's very easy to get. So if you didn't do the 3 invasions back when I first covered this in Liurnia, then you'll either need to go do that now, specifically with the Festering Bloody Finger item that Vare gave you. And honestly, I don't even know how that works at this point. You can just try doing 3 invasions with the Festering Bloody Fingers you have in your inventory and see what happens. Or, much more conveniently, and what I'd recommend, go to Writhed-Blood Ruins and Altus Plateau, right up here. There you go. If you were following the guide for that section of Altus Plateau, we hit a red summon sign, killed an NPC called Magnus the Beastclaw, so chances are he's already dead in your game and you're good to move on. If you didn't kill him, just go back there and do it now. Once he's dead, you want to go back to the Rose Church in Liurnia, which is right here, and talk to Vare again. He'll invite you to join his order, except he'll give you the Lord of Blood's favor, which you'll need to soak in the blood of a maiden. By this point in the game, you have 3 very easy options. You can warp to the Church of Inhibition in northeast Liurnia, right up here, and there will be a dead maiden there. You can warp back to the Chapel of Anticipation through the 4 belfries over here. That's going to take us back to that starting area of the game over here. And there will be a dead maiden there. That's the one I showed in the walkthrough originally. Or you can warp to the beginning of Weeping Peninsula right here by the Bridge of Sacrifice, and Irina is dead there. Doesn't matter which one you pick or which ones you don't pick, the Maiden's Blood doesn't affect anything else in the game. Then you return to Vari at Rose Church. He'll give you a reusable Bloody Finger, but most importantly, if you talk to him again, he'll give you the Pure Blood Knight's Medal. Use it from your inventory here. Accept the prompt that pops up to go to the audience grounds. You will be teleported to the audience grounds at Mohgwyn's Palace. This is a pretty late game area, so we're not going to do it right now. I mean, well, we're in the late game now. There's honestly no way around that, but I'm still going to hold off for a second. Grab that Ghost Glove Ward 9 since it's right there. Get the map for this place. And then go up the stairs here. And grab this Grace. Now grabbing that map is actually all the intel we need to bring back to Gideon, so let's go do that. That's our clue for Mohg's location. Choose the Mohgwyn Palace option that's here now after you get that map.
If what of it? The information and it is you are the truth.
And he'll give you the Fevers Cookbook 3. Next, warp to Avenue Balcony. And go ahead and rest, and Melina should pop up again. Since we spoke to Enya about burning the thorns, we can talk to Melina, and she will elaborate on her plans a little bit more this time.
Snowy, I know, I'm asking, but it must, and that, what is your...
And then we can follow that main road to the east, all the way back up to the elevator that we did not take earlier. You also have a marker on the map, so I guess it doesn't really matter if you remember that or not. And up we go. Alright, take out these soldiers here. Grab the Flame Drake Talisman +1. And there's a knight on a horse up there. Usually you can backstab this guy and lure him back to where we just were and not bother the guy on horseback. Unless he's just gonna keep shooting arrows. Sounds like he is, alright. Works for me, I suppose. Grab that item off the corpse, then we'll knock this guy off his high horse. Maybe. I don't understand why you can't use torrent here. Bad game design. Bad game. Unplayable. I forgot that you did that. Well, kill him twice for a somber smithing stone 6. And then at the end here, there is a room with an elevator that branches off into another bridge over here to the right. And that one has a divine tower at the end. That's where we'll go to activate Morgott's Great Rune in a second, but there are more opportunities to die on that bridge, and I'm not trying to run back from Avenue Balcony in the middle of Leyndell again. So go down the elevator first. On the same note, there's a place to hop off the elevator as it's going down, but the slight chance of somehow messing that up and dying is just not worth it right now. So we ride it all the way to the bottom. Step outside and grab the Grace. And then also around the corner, drawstring fire grease. Dude, that fly is a menace. He's back. He just jumped off the wall and he like fell. Like he's too heavy to fly. I don't know what his problem is. Jump off there. Official's attire. Open the door. And we get the Blade of Calling, which is actually what Melina uses when she fights, which is pretty cool. Drop down here, and we will call the elevator back down. Alright, now we go out the southeast entrance. And just before you reach the soldier with the torch ahead, the bridge will go dark. And the fell twins will appear. I really like this encounter. It was like super unexpected the first time I played, despite the fact that the boss is kind of a complete pushover. It was a really cool entrance, I have to admit. They're slightly enhanced compared to normal omens, but still kind of just like fighting normal omens for the most part. Axe guy is going to build up a lead on you, other one spam some random holy nonsense. There's a sword that he buffs with holy damage. Normal omen weaknesses apply though, very much backstabbable. He's dodged 2 of them though, that's kind of impressive. Alright, fine, we'll go with the front stabs. Just kidding, backstab. Down they go. Get the Omen Killer Royal Ashes. Now, while I like the concept of this fight, like on its own, it's kind of funny in context because for one, it's like the Four Kings at home fight with the just infinite darkness arena. But it's also kind of like the Royal Omen twins at home because Morgott, who we just faced, is obviously an Omen who uses holy attacks. And, well, I guess we haven't met Mohg yet in the walkthrough, but Morgott has a twin brother, also an Omen, named Mohg, who's like blood themed. So it's just like a knockoff version of two really important encounters, which I find amusing. But grab that grace outside and then ride the elevator to the top. And despite just getting a grace, we get another one as soon as we get to the top of the tower, so I don't really know what the point of that was. You know where we could have used another grace instead of these two right by each other with no enemies in between? Right at the top of that lift, we unlocked after Morgott. That run back from Avenue Balcony is absolutely brutal if you die on that bridge. So grab the grace, activate the Great Rune, or restore it rather, to officially unlock Morgott's Great Rune for use, which will give you a 25% increase to your maximum HP. In case you forgot, Radahn's Rune gives a 15% increase to HP, FP, and stamina, so that's how those two compare. And then when you're ready, you can warp back to Forbidden Lands, and that's going to do it for this episode. That is all there is to Leyndell. Next time we'll start on Mountaintops of the Giants, so hopefully that was helpful, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a good one.